Thank you for joining us. This is KTN MidMorning. My name is Koi. Now, today we speak to a relationship coach, an entrepreneur, an accomplished motivational speaker, a trainer, and a marriage counselor. She's the founder of Mentoring Moms, a ministry that trains women and their spouses. She's a wife, mother to grown and married kids, and also a grandmother. Jennie is passionate about family life and is very open about it in an effort to encourage others to make their marriages work. Let's meet this bubbly and candid woman up next on MidMorning Lifestyle.
This is me. Welcome to my world.
It has been a century-old adage that women have inborn multitasking abilities. There are a number of theories behind this age-old stereotype, and it's easy to see how such a theory is gradually embraced as a fact with the existence of women such as Jennie Karina.
Good to see you. You're well. Wonderful. Welcome.
Jennie is not only a wife, mother, and grandmother, but an entrepreneur, relationship coach, motivational speaker, counselor, and author too.
I wouldn't say that there's anything unique about me. And yet I would say there's everything that is unique about me. Because I'm the only Jennie Karina in the world. I am fearfully and wonderfully created. You will never find another one like me in terms of looks, in terms of temperament, in terms of abilities. There are those things that I'm able to do, but even if someone else does it, it doesn't have my touch. Even when it comes to simple things like a cookout. When I cook, you will be able to taste my food and it will be different because I did it. And so the only thing that I would say is slightly unique about me, I'm very sensitive to those around me. I grew up in a modest family of 6 children, 2 boys and 3 girls. I'm the firstborn in the family, and my mother went to be with the Lord about 15 years ago. My father is alive and well. And my father was actually the first African bank manager with Barclays Bank. And we are a neat family that are close. I'm the firstborn of a family of 6 children. I'm the first girl. And where I come from, you're either named after your father, your mother, and the naming thing, interestingly, has a way. I was named after my father. I'm my father's daughter, and so he always called me mom and spoiled me because I'm his mother, and I like that a little. I like that, and so I had the responsibility of really mothering my siblings. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that they look at me as a sister. They look at me more as a mother.
Jennie has been married to the same man, the love of her life, Bob Karina, for over 30 years.
When I got married, other than that one day counseling before the marriage, I never had any mentors. I never had anyone that really told me what marriage was. In fact, the best I had was one that said to me, "You have chosen to get married? Ha! You wait and see." So I knew that I've stepped on dangerous grounds. But for me, I loved my husband so much, I just thought, okay, you are in a bad relationship, mine is good, and so I had nothing to worry about. But I encountered many challenges. If I had had a mentor through the journey of marriage, or couples, because we were young, the couples who were our friends that got married about 7 years after we got married. So in between these years, we never really had anyone to look up to, no one to go to, and so that was really challenging. And that's why I'm so passionate about being there for others. Because other than just being able to get into my bathtub and cry myself silly, I had no one to go to and say, look, we are going through this, and yet there were sometimes things that were simple and could easily be resolved, but there was no one to be able to speak to. And so it's so helpful to be able to have a couple mentor, an older couple that you can walk with through this journey, just for encouragement. Sometimes it's not even about what you go to them to discuss. It's all about, sometimes visual, observing and seeing, oh, things can be done in this way. And we learn a lot through observation.
Even though Jennie did not have mentors at the beginning of her marriage, she felt ready to start a family.
My interests were no longer just about me and what I need to achieve in my life. It was about what's good for the family. And so it's not the time that I would say, okay, even as I see today, someone would just go off to the US for further studies and leave the family. That was never an option for me. I just knew that I needed to bring up my family. So I just had to put everything on hold. Whatever my dreams were and my aspirations were in life came to a standstill until my children grew to the level where I could now start pursuing my goals in life. And I must say that bringing up the children was one of the most exciting things that I've done in my life. The nurturing, the mentoring, the growing, and finally young women and a young fine man get to the level of finding their loved ones, get married, send them off to their homes, and Allah, I'm only me and my husband. And the thing is, how did this happen? So when I see them successful in their own careers, I see them happy in their own homes, then I look back and I say the investment was worth the while.
Sacrifice is an easy word to say, but not so easy to do, especially for career-driven women with a family to raise.
By the time I settled down, I had dreams because I was pursuing fashion design. That was what I really had desired to do later in life. I grew up with a mother that was a seamstress. She loved to make. We never got dresses from ready-made dresses. We always got materials to make clothes. And that made me very interested in stitching, and I was very good. And so I thought that I could pursue a fashion design line. And that is what I thought I would do. But when I did get married, I actually never quit on it because we had an income from my stitching. I made clothes and supplied them to the shops in the city, and it was quite a good thing for the income that we started with. Having a regular job and stitching at the side, in fact, it grew, and I had just a couple of tailors to stitch, and it was a supplementary income that was always welcome. However, I never regret that I never pursued that line, and I moved on to do other things. In terms of bringing up my children, that for me was my number one priority. In terms of career was important, but not as much as having a family that is together and children that have been brought up, not grown up, been brought up. And so I invested a lot of time with my children. I took them for piano lessons. I sat out there waiting for them to finish. I took them for ballet lessons. I took them for swimming lessons. I was with them. I did what I needed to do. I hardly was available even to go for social functions because either I was taking my child from one place to another. We were together 24/7, as much as possible. And so for me, I never at any time sacrificed family for career. I did get to begin my college level education, and just before too long, I got married. And so I quit on school, and I concentrated on bringing up my children. And in the process of being a wife, bringing up my children, I needed to go back to school and finish where I had begun. I did get married a little early. I was only 20 years of age. Looking back and looking at a 20-year-old today just makes me know that, oops, almost saying it was child abuse. But I have made it this far. So I needed to go back to school and get my degree. And I was able to do counseling, psychology up to master's level. And I'm actually pursuing now my PhD in educational psychology. So truly, not being able to finish school when you should doesn't mean that you need to quit in life. You can achieve anything that you desire to. And so if you get your education in your 30s, fine. If it is in your 50s, it's okay. Yes.
Jennie Karina comes across as a very easygoing mother. Was this the case when raising her kids?
Picking up from my mother, I am nowhere but liberal. I am a very strict mother. Rules and regulations, but very democratic and compromising. Yes, they always told me I am very curly. If you ask my children, they would say, oh, mama, oh, spare the rod and spoil the child. That was my motto. And so, when it came to smacking, I did it good. When it came to talking, we talked. But liberal, not in terms of bringing up my children. But of course, when now they became adults, we reason one with another. One of the things that I would share with any career woman is that career is great. It comes and it goes. And one of the things that I've discovered is that it comes to a time when you get to the glass ceiling and you don't even want that career anymore. And it's time to pack up and go home. The thing I would want to say to that career woman is, by the time you pack up and go home, you want a home to go to. Because it doesn't matter how far you climb in the corporate ladder. If you don't have a home to come to when it's all over, then it was all a waste of time. In terms of climbing the corporate ladder too, you want a support group. And the cheerleader, the number one cheerleader, is your spouse and your family, your children and those around you. And so to be able to get that energy to drive you, home needs to be peaceful. And so I want to say that I subscribe to the Christian faith that says that a wise woman builds her home and a foolish woman destroys her home with her bare hands. There you are.
Building a home in the pursuit of our dreams, however, is not an easy feat.
And so I think what is so important is to be able to understand how to balance between that career woman and the home front. We are very privileged because we are able to actually have home helpers who take a lot of burdens from us. If you're going out to work and you can be able to have someone that is going to nurture your children, it can get better. Clean your house and so on, and you can afford it, it's a good thing. So I would say it helps to get extra help to be able to help manage your home. But even when you do have someone that is managing your home, you got to be in touch with your home. You got to be in touch with your spouse. You got to be in touch with your children. And you've got to be able to spend quality time. When do you spend quality time? With your children or with your spouse? That has got to be diarized, it's got to be structured, it's got to be known so that you are not just swallowed up in your career. And when you go home, can we leave the office at the office? And when we come home, can we really be that domesticated wife who can be able to make some good dinner and be able to do some housework and be the wife?
Jennie Karina was interested in the fashion industry in her earlier years, but this gradually changed.
I did have a great passion in fashion. But one of the things that I landed myself in banking, and I worked for bank representative for a Yugoslav bank representative firm here. So the fashion went off. This was where I was earning an income, and so I knew that in my retirement I might just end up, getting back to making dresses and that. But when I got involved in the church, I was incorporated in the counseling ministry. And through that interaction, I recognized that a lot of people hurt a great deal. And particularly even in the church, because of confidentiality, they are not able to share that which they are going through in full. And I got interested in being one of the helpers. As a result, I recognized that my skills are limited where counseling is concerned. I did counsel as a lay counselor, and because I needed to do it as an expert, that is actually what provoked me to pursue further education in the line of counseling psychology. And when I did do that, I actually realized, oh, this really is exciting. And I'm not only being able to help someone else, it actually helps me, because I was able to understand who I am. I was able to recognize what I want. I was able to deal with my outstanding issues. And so I realized this is where I need to be. I discovered my purpose by simply serving. I always knew that I had a niche where relationships are concerned. I always knew that I loved to make a difference. Actually, when I was in high school, they used to call me Dear Dolly. Because if you had a challenge in your relationships, you go to Jennie, she'll sort you out. I knew what you needed to do. And if you wrote me a letter, I always replied it and said, A, B, C, D. And so that was my nickname at that time. I never knew that it was something that would pop up later in my life. How did I discover? Because of being told by others what I am good at. The first support is just making that woman who's your wife know that you appreciate her for what she does, even for that bread she goes to get out there, and that it doesn't matter what she does, you love her. 2, it is important to help out in the household roles. Today, well, I see from my children, actually things have changed. My son changes the diapers. I see my son-in-laws change diapers. In my days, you dealt with everything. Change the diapers, sleep with the baby, do everything. Men didn't touch the babies. And so I can already see that there's a lot of help where children are concerned. It's your day with the children. It's how do the men help? Today is my day out with the girls, and the men will stay home and be the daddy for the day. That kind of help stretches the relationship to a great level, because it allows you to rejuvenate and eliminate burnout. Because if you continue to do so much as a woman without the support of your man, then you look and you wonder, it's me who's looked up to everything and nobody helps me around here. And then you begin to have a burnout. And when you do that, then you don't become very good company to be with, because you become resentful, which is something that should be avoided. So I would encourage every man, be very supportive, love your wife, make her feel special, affirm her, appreciate her, acknowledge her. And when you do that, find out how can I help. As simple as picking up the children from school is a great way to be of assistance. As simple as driving your wife around to go to the city where traffic sometimes can be so bad is a great way to be of help. So there are very many ways of really being of help without a man feeling that he's being put down.
Apart from that, Jennie is very precise as to what the role of the husband in the home is.
The role of the man is clear and the role of the wife is clear. It is, in my opinion, many men have abdicated their role and responsibility in the home. They are absent and they need to be present. So what happens? What happens when a king is not on the throne? Somebody has to be on the throne. And so it's only when the woman doesn't have a present husband does she sit on the throne and do what she needs to do. And so it doesn't mean because a woman is a CEO or is high in the corporate ladder that a man ought to be threatened. The man should never be threatened by the position of the wife. When it comes to the basics, she remains the wife and she's the executive in the office. You know, if I were a man and they want to say that my wife has sat on me, it's okay if I'm happy. You know, at the end of the day, you can be with the boys all you like, but come night, you're going to go home. You can be with them all night, but come morning, you got to go home. So you want to make home a place that is comfortable. You want to make home a place that, you know, when you go, you are well received. So it doesn't matter what the boys want to say about you. You change diapers or you carry the handbag or you're sat on. It's okay as long as you're happy. I love swimming. When I swim, every stroke I make is just a relaxation for me. Another way, I love to go golfing. And when I golf, in the midst of the trees and chasing that little ball, I forget the world. And all I need to do at that moment is to be able to put that little ball in that hole. And that makes me feel so good. In between that, I can go to the spa, just have a facial, have a massage, manicure, pedicure, and I feel rejuvenated and ready for another week. I am most passionate about building lasting relationships in the family. I am really very passionate about that. And at the end of the day, that is all that I care about. Doesn't matter whether there is anything else that is important. For me, my core value is family. I am passionate about family. And I'm passionate about family being able to thrive.
Take a look inside your head. Come and tell me what you read between the lines.
Jennie's happy and successful marriage has not come without its challenges.
There were several challenges that I had to overcome. And I would say that the first challenge that I had to deal with and overcome was also getting married to a young man that wasn't ready to settle down as my husband. All right, and had to learn about just being able to be there, not only for me, but for the children. And that took a lot of patience. It took a lot of energy from me because when I got married, I expected that my husband was going to be by my side, do as I think, as I say, walk together in this journey, live happily ever after. And maybe just have a glass or two of wine by the fireplace and enjoy life. But I discovered there was more to it than just that. And so for me, those were the challenges in my younger days. But then I realized that I'd have to allow him to grow as much as he needs to allow me to grow. And as we did that, we had some rough edges. But also putting on hold a passion of mine, like maybe I would go back to school and stop because, the school fees has to be for the children, there's not sufficient funds. And we struggled, even financially, to be able to come to the level where you are comfortable. It was hard. It was really hard. We did what we could, but we struggled. And so for me, I denied myself so much. I could not go to a shop and buy myself a dress. I wore mitumbas. I had to go to get myself second-hand clothes, second-hand shoes, because the money had to stretch. Today, I can walk to the shop and get myself a brand new dress, a brand new pair of shoes, and so the price was paid. And so those were some of the sacrifices that we made as we were growing. Well, let me say that nurturing and bringing up children is beautiful. But it comes to a time when they leave home and it's like, wow, you're now on your own. And I think at that point, for me also came a time that I had also retired from my employment. And it's like I'm retired, but I'm not tired, and I'm so energetic, and I have time to do what I need to do. And so what I did is I volunteered my time. I gave my time to the Girl Guides, the Kenya Girl Guides. I served there as treasurer, and I was in the board for quite a while. I've served in the boards of other government institutions of this country, to be able to just, for me, it's a way of giving back. In terms of my time, my experience, and so forth. But in the last couple of years, I engaged in writing a book, Marriage Built to Last. And the reason that I engaged in writing this book is that when I served the women, I recognized that a lot of women were hurting because of marriage. And when I engaged myself with them, I realized that there are certain reasons why marriage does not work. And if I address these reasons and probably put it in a book, it might just help a lot of other people that I may not be able to touch and to interact with. And so I engaged in this journey. It took me 5 years between writing and publishing. And I published this book last year and launched it on Valentine's Day and 14th February last year. For anyone that would want to get in touch with me, they are able to get in touch with me through my website or my email. And my website address is www.jenniekarina.co.ke. And they can write to me. What I do is that I meet people twice a week, every Tuesday and every Thursday. I meet people that want to see me for various counseling engagements. And I have a lot of speaking engagements. I do group work. I also, do seminars. I invite people to come and be able to do seminars. We've been running a forum called the Love Life Forum, where couples come together. We facilitate that with my husband and some other couples, because a lot of women have forums where they are able to vent and be able to speak. But there are not many where couples come together and are able to be mentored by other couples. When we talk about being a career woman and my husband playing his part in it, it's many times as women, we put ourselves on a pedestal. And because I am a career woman, my expectation of my husband is 1, 2, 3. I want to say that every relationship is unique and every relationship has its own dynamics. Question is, who is your husband and how can you be able to work together. I know my husband. I know what he can do and what he cannot do. The thing is, can we find a compromise of how we shall be able to support one another? You know, relationships are about a power game. It's about who is pulling what string sometimes. And so, if you are going to feel as a woman who has made it in a career that I expect A, B, C, D to be done because I am who I am, I can only say that you are beginning to fall. Because at the end of the day, a man's ego will now be able to show up when these things happen. And when they do, then you will not be on the same wavelength. It's all about communication. It's all about understanding. It's all about ground rules, about boundaries that are going to be set. Before we have gotten into the engagement, it is important to talk. My job calls for me to be in New York, in New Jersey, in London. There are people that travel a lot. In the absence of this career woman who travels all the time, who's going to be doing that? Have they agreed? If they haven't, then that career is going to bring a problem to the home front. So I think that when marriage comes, it's no longer about me. It is about us. And both the husband and the wife ought to be able to be in agreement about the work. Is this career a hindrance in this relationship? Is there something else that we can do? And so as long as they are in agreement about how they are going to conduct themselves, I think they should be able to fly. I love soul. I listen to Christian music, but I will tell you that the soul music always reminds me of that great soul. And at the end of the day, I also like jazz. I like jazz music. And I have an ear for good music. So whatever good music you want to play for me, I will enjoy it. I know how to dance. I like to dance to good music.
With such a busy lifestyle, we wonder if there is time for her to make friends.
My circle of friends is very diverse. I have young people, I have teenage friends, I have young friends, I have married friends, I have older friends, and I love having a diversity of friends and having a circle of friends that are diverse, particularly because the older ones act as a support group and role models and for me and good mentors. And my peers, that's at the challenge level where we challenge one another, and that's a good thing. It's good to have peers. And I have younger friends that pep me up and let me know that I'm out of shape, out of fashion. It's time to change your look, you know. It's time to have a new hairstyle. Those are my younger friends. And so I enjoy being in a circle of friends that are diverse.
Jennie Karina is not only passionate about empowering women and families, but guiding couples to answer the question in her book, A Marriage Built to Last, After the Promise, What Next?
Jennie Karina wrote her first book, A Marriage Built to Last, which is candid and aims to provide suggestions for making marriage work for young people contemplating it and for those who have been married longer. In that book, Marriage Built to Last, she shares her own experiences from her marriage, which has lasted over 30 years. Surely that is a woman who knows a thing or two about a successful relationship. Do go to our Facebook page, KTN MidMorning, and tell us what you think about the show, and be sure to contribute to the discussion topics. It's been a pleasure. I have been your host, Koi. Let's do this again tomorrow. Have a lovely day.